At First Choice Bank, we know you can't always make it before the bank closes. With our integrated teller, you can talk to a live person as late as 7 p.m. on weekdays and noon on Saturdays. It's not just an ATM, it's an ITM. First Choice Bank, your choice for banking.
Give the gift of a delicious burger from Bulldog Burger, a soup and sandwich from Sweet Pepper's Deli, appetizers and cocktails from The Grill, or even a wood-fired steak from Harvey's. Choice is the perfect gift. An all-in-one gift card from Eat With Us.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 10.
And just like that, it's the weekend. After a busy Christmas holiday and a warm Christmas holiday at that, we are now heading into the new year and heading into the new year with those warm conditions still. Yeah, we can't escape it. Welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 10. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynor, and the warm temperatures, they've just been the theme all week long. Even heading into the weekend, just can't escape it. The gift that keeps on giving. Merry Christmas, everybody. Rain chances are back this weekend and some strong heading into our Sunday. That's the big focal point of the 10 o'clock hour here in the Room to Room Weather Center is going to be what to expect Sunday night into your Monday morning. We'll be tracking every bit of that here on the 10 o'clock hour. What we're also looking at is that weekend staying warm. Again, those temperatures, like I mentioned, can't escape it. And those warm temperatures actually destabilizing the atmosphere heading into that Sunday night threat. We'll be, again, tracking both of those together here in just a moment. And looking at that extended forecast, we're talking about New Year's Eve and those bowl games, both of which are around that same time frame. Much colder forecast. We'll track what those temperatures are coming up in just a moment. So if you thought it was an action-packed week this week, it gets even busier heading into 2026. Can't wait to see what happens. But we appreciate you guys joining us here on Mississippi Live Weather at 10, 11 p.m. tonight, 63 degrees, gradually, I'm not even going to say declining, pretty much remaining consistent overnight and into our AM hours of our Saturday, 62 degrees heading out the door on a late December morning. Yeah, only Mississippi, right? But the big reason why is because of how much moisture is in the air. That blanket of cloud cover in the sky, not allowing that heat to escape, and with how abnormal these warm temperatures have been, yeah, they'll continue to stick around. So anything that keeps the heat around, it's going to take full advantage, and we're going to see that throughout our overnight hours and even into our Saturday morning and afternoon. Out the door right now, 63 degrees in Batesville, still with that calm evening, but some of those areas that are not seeing any wind gusts right now, potential for some more patchy fog during that morning commute. I don't expect it to be as widespread as it has been, but the potential is there for a few of those isolated areas dealing with a foggy commute tomorrow morning. 8 to 10, 63 degrees as well. Again, no wind, dew point right around that same margin. So 8 to 10, another area that we're paying attention to for the potential for some patchy fog. And as we get a look out there in Aberdeen, 61 degrees, even a 3-mile-an-hour wind. That'll definitely help. But we need that to be a little bit more breezy to clear out some of this moisture because it is just a very saturated pattern. We're low 60s, dew points in the low 60s. Those two things paired together just shows you how saturated this environment is and will continue to be so heading into our Saturday. So looking at that Mississippi Live weather brought to you by Mama Justice, you can see that those dry conditions still remain overhead. Haven't tracked a drop of rainfall all day long, and that's why things have been so dry. You look over the past 24 hours, not a drop in sight. I will say, we did have some mist over at the Maynor household, a pleasant surprise, but more annoying than pleasant because of it's just not significant enough to do anything, but enough of a nuisance to put the windshield wipers up one. So yeah, give and take, but it's not really giving much of anything whenever it talks about those rain totals. As we look at that extended pattern, Saturday looking dry. So Saturday, the day we need to take advantage of to get things done outside. But as we move more into our Sunday, you can see rain chances kicking back into the forecast, but not exactly a high amount. We're only talking 1/10 to maybe 1/4 of an inch in some spots as that frontal boundary moves across North Mississippi and into Alabama by your Monday morning. So why is this not a lot? Why are we talking severe weather with a non-impactful rain chance? It's just one of those thin lines that's going to have a high gradient wind that'll allow for some of those breezier conditions to kick into the forecast. And again, we'll get a look at that as we head into the forecast here in just a moment as we get a look at your Sunday. So getting a look at our surface analysis, again, it's going to be a very calm pattern for the next several days. And as you can see, a large part of that moisture, I'm actually going to take it out one more scan, a large part of that moisture up around New York City, getting an onslaught of winter precip, even up around Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, everywhere up there. If you planned a Christmas trip to go see the Rockefeller Plaza, yeah, it's not exactly a good forecast. So be glad you stayed in North Mississippi and are enjoying the heat, the dry, hot weather, definitely polar opposites when we're talking about the forecast between those two locations. So as we head overnight, this front not doing anything to North Mississippi, not dropping our temperatures, and not even giving us any chances of rainfall. Let's bring it back in here because you get it. It's going to be snowy up in the northeast. What is it that we're going to see into our weekend here in North Mississippi? As this front gradually moves across the area, the potential of a few light sprinkles out there in northwest Alabama. Here in North Mississippi, we're going to stay mostly clear, mostly dry overnight, and we'll continue to do so into your Saturday morning commute. So not tracking any rainfall, not even that light precipitation that we've been seeing a couple times throughout this week. Partly cloudy skies by the time we get into our Saturday morning, but as we go about the day, you see this cloud cover and this moisture start to build once again. That's that saturated forecast once again taking shape, but that cloud cover not going to prevent us from warming up throughout the day. I mean, we are going to see near record-breaking temperatures once again heading into our, let's see, what day is it at now? December 27th? Guys, how is it December 27th and we're in the 70s? That's just unreal to me still. Heat that is definitely once in my lifetime here in Mississippi. I know it's not a long time, but still doesn't happen that often. So as we get into our lunchtime hour, still with those warm temperatures, potential of a few sprinkles out there towards Hattiesburg, Jackson, and Montgomery, Alabama. But once we talk about North Mississippi, I'm not seeing a ton of moisture reach up into the northern half of the Magnolia State. So the next 24, your Saturday, 61 degrees by 6, climbing to the low 70s by noon, and then mid to upper 70s by your afternoon. Yes, the potential for a sprinkle is in there. I had to throw that in there. Am I sold on it? Not necessarily. I still have a very dry forecast throughout the day, and I do think a lot of this moisture will be elevated, but don't be surprised if you have to turn the windshield wipers up for some of those misty afternoons like we had today. Again, not impactful, but annoying. It's still going to make you have to turn the windshield wipers on just a bit for a brief moment in time. So coming up in the next 60, we're not talking misty conditions. We're talking about some significant rainfall moving in Sunday night into your Monday morning, but those rain chances also come with some storms. We'll be tracking the latest on that and what to expect live from the Room to Room Weather Center for Mississippi Live weather at 10 in the next 60.
The clock is ticking on Room to Room's year-end clearance sale. For 5 days only, get half off furniture, mattresses, and Christmas decor, plus 20% off accessories. 5 days with 60-month special financing. And we pay the sales tax now at Room to Room.
As a bankruptcy firm, Mitchell, Cunningham & Bowling realizes many people are worried about their finances. We're here to guide you through the next steps to restart your life with easy video appointments. New clients don't have to leave home to get information about becoming debt-free. Also, convenient in-office appointments are available at the low cost of $340 upfront for a Chapter 13. You can be on your way to being debt-free. Contact Mitchell, Cunningham & Bowling today or visit our website at mcdebtfree.com. We are here to help you.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
Well, I see some of our folks in the chat, some of our weather watchers talking about Christmas, and I do hope everybody here in North Mississippi and the entire world had a fantastic Christmas, had a very Merry Christmas, didn't get coal in their stocking because of course, we're all on the nice list, right? But it is still a blessing getting those gifts whenever we're talking about that warm weather. That's still in place heading into our weekend. So the gift that keeps on giving, that is the temperatures in North Mississippi this week. Saturday, 76 degrees, still with those cloudy skies, but Sunday, 76 degrees, same thing, clouds lingering in the forecast. But look at the bottom. Warmth continues, storms on Sunday. Storms on Sunday, relatively. It's going to be on the way latter half of our Sunday, working its way into our Monday morning when that cold front moves into the area. But technically, I guess it does start Sunday, so wanted to give you guys a heads up on that forecast. Tonight, 64 degrees in Oxford, still with those moist, saturated conditions, still dealing with that in Lafayette County. 5 miles an hour out of the south. That breeze going to help work some of that moisture out of the area, at least not result in that patchy fog. So while fog is possible, I don't have it going to be as widespread as it was the past couple of days. 63 degrees in Starkville, a beautiful night in Stark Vegas. Not exactly a ton of people out and about as folks head home to see family and friends for the holiday season, but still those folks that are in Oktibbeha County looking like a good forecast for you. Those winds, non-existent, so it is not a breezy night there in Starkville. 65 degrees in West Point. Roads look completely different than they have been the past few days. look at how calm traffic is. Now, granted, it is 10 o'clock, but it is Friday night. Would expect it to be a little bit more energetic, unfortunately, or fortunately, not the case, depending on how you look at it. Still 65 degrees in Clay County. It is a warm pattern overnight, but luckily a dry pattern as we track that out on our Mississippi Live Weather Radar, brought to you by Mama Justice. It's going to continue to be a calm night across the region into those overnight hours, but this is what we're all paying attention to. That severe weather risk working into our Sunday night, and your Monday morning. And looking at that extended threat, of course, it's more significant way up there towards the north in Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, and up around Ohio. So this is going to be that entire southwest to northeast orientation that lines up well with that cold front. That is where we see those elevated chances of strong storms and the potential for some severe weather. So overnight tonight, I know you see a percent on there. That is not the severe weather we're talking about. Again, that's going to be Sunday night, and we'll track that out in just a moment. So for tonight, at most, we're getting a sprinkle. But really, we have mostly dry conditions in the area overnight with those mostly cloudy skies as well. So Futurecast has a large part of that moisture working its way east, and northwest Alabama, not an impossibility of seeing a sprinkle overnight due to that frontal boundary being overhead. That is midnight on your Saturday morning, technically, Friday night and Saturday morning. And then as we gradually work into those AM hours of our Saturday, you can see that's where those rain chances linger. Now, not a shock at all if you wake up tomorrow morning and it feels like mostly sunny skies. That's because that's the pattern that we're in, but that sunny sky does not last for long, so all the more incentive to wake up a little early and enjoy that forecast. Cloud cover begins to build a little bit more towards the north, and as we work our way into the afternoon forecast, we'll see those mostly cloudy skies a little bit more present. So low temperatures Saturday, a mild start, and I would argue that this is a warm start to our Saturday with 63 showing up in the Delta, 61 Grenada, New Albany, and Houston, and 60 degrees around Boonville, Bruce, and Oxford. So as we keep that forecast moving, of course, those warm temperatures overhead, and there's that cloud cover building in from the south. That's going to be what blankets the sky, but unfortunately doesn't allow that warmth to go away, as that warmth definitely continues to build. Temperatures continue to climb into the afternoon, and we're in for another toasty forecast for our Saturday, but those dry conditions do remain overhead. Potential for a sprinkle by the afternoon, not an impossibility, but as you can see, a lot of that green going to be primarily towards the south and southeast away from us here in North Mississippi. So as we work into those overnight hours, those dry conditions still continue to loom overhead, but those high temperatures, those continue to loom overhead as well, with temperatures going to be in the mid to upper 70s. 76 Tupelo, Amory, 77 around Houston, 76 Greenwood, and 74 there towards Cleveland. You see that record, 77 degrees set in 2015, 2016. Yeah, 2015 was a toasty one. That's what I'm learning here in North Mississippi. But over here in Tupelo, we're not far from it this year, and it is going to be another warm one getting into our Saturday forecast. Now, overnight, we do see those dry conditions still remain overhead, but let's go ahead and get into this pattern because this is where things start to ramp up and we start to see more change in that forecast. So Sunday morning, we're heading out the door, going to be a dry forecast for sure. So not tracking anything that'll be of note for the start of our Sunday. But as we work through the rest of the day, you see this front that's starting to roll through the Midwest and off towards the southeast. This is that front that's going to be our big weather maker heading into our Sunday night and Monday morning. Watch how this progresses east, moving about 30 to 40 miles an hour, gradually working its way into Springfield by noon, and then off there towards St. Louis by 3 o'clock in Little Rock. That's where it starts to get closer and closer to North Mississippi, and it is not far away by 6 o'clock. Now, the thing is, the positioning will change just a bit. I'm going to change this over to a different model here in just a moment. But by 6 o'clock, not going to be a shock at all to get this line to start to form from DeWitt, Arkansas, up there towards Memphis, Tennessee, and Dyersburg, Tennessee. And that's where that line starts to form. But you get an idea. Let's go ahead and zoom this in right here. And I know this is on a part of a storm that's not going to be in our area, but look at how linear this is. This is not exactly a concern for hail or tornadoes. Where this becomes a concern is that strong gradient that's going to form with this cool down, this temperature gradient that we have. We're going from the mid 70s Sunday, which we'll see here in just a moment, all the way down to the mid 30s by Monday morning. That temperature change, a 40-degree difference, takes a very tight gradient, and that's where that gradient wind can be on the stronger side. And we'll see that with some damaging winds, whether they're severe or not. Honestly, it doesn't even matter, because it's still going to be impactful with how strong they're going to be due to that gradient. So again, let's bring it back to high temperatures. This is that unstable environment that these storms are working their way into, with 75 degrees Holly Springs, Corinth, Boonville, and New Albany, 77 Amory, Houston, and Bruce, and 76 right around Eupora, Starkville, and Macon. So no matter where you're at, It's a warm atmosphere. It's also a saturated atmosphere. So if we look at that severe weather risk again, that level 1 threat extends from Shelby all the way to Oxford and Boonville and Tishomingo, well up towards the north into Tennessee, Kentucky, and the states that I mentioned just a moment ago. So now let's bring it into one of our other model runs. And again, this is lagging a little bit more behind, so that front is one to pay attention to for where that starts to make its way into North Mississippi. And I'm going to drag it out here just for a moment so I can show that to you, because that leading edge on our strike model all the way back there towards Little Rock and Pocahontas, Arkansas, that's going to be working its way in that same direction, but starting a little bit later will make it less impactful because the heat leaves the day. So let's go ahead and drag this out. So we're talking about 7 o'clock on your Sunday, how this is inching closer and closer to North Mississippi. Well, then we added another product, and this is called Cape, which is that energy that we're watching that will build into this line and allow for some strong storms to take place. As you can see right here, that Cape way ahead of where this line will be, but if that line lines up with our HRRR model, then we're looking at a more unstable atmosphere interacting with that line of storms. So big thing to pay attention to is the positioning of that Cape and the positioning of that front. Where these two line up will be the potential for your strong storms. So let's drag that out. We're talking 8 o'clock on your Sunday, still watching that line form and become a little bit more mature, and that line of moisture, that line of energy starts to work its way north as well. Let's bring it a little bit closer here to North Mississippi. So dragging it in, you can see that things are starting to increase just a bit in strength, and that's going to be that line that's starting to form right along that cold front. So as we work that into North Mississippi, you still have that energy right along that leading edge, and that's what's building this line of storms back behind it. And this energy is the unstable air in the atmosphere that's allowing for these storms to build. So if we increase a little bit on these storm tops, not going to be a surprise at all if we do get these strong winds to be produced from it. I think in general that gradient wind's going to be strong wind enough, but this is just adding to it. And then you add the potential for, if one of these were to hook out just a bit or start to lead off just a bit, there you can get a brief rotation and a brief tornado to take place. This is not the best environment for it, but it's not an impossibility with this line as it gradually works its way on through. That line of instability continues to work right along with that cold front, and this line back behind it drives along with it. But whenever you see this linear pattern right here, that's what makes me believe that this is going to be more of a strong wind threat rather than a tornado or hail threat, because you don't have these individual cells developing along that leading edge. But whenever you get some of these areas that jut out, like maybe around there towards Grenada, and again, I'm not calling out specific towns, I'm really nitpicky on this line, that's where you could get that brief spin up to take place. So into those overnight hours, you can see just how linear we're talking about along that edge, but there's that little S shape that we're watching for the potential for maybe a brief spin up as this works its way on through. That's really dependent on how much energy we have. It's really dependent on the time of day that it comes through. And with it being a nocturnal threat, the danger comes into play of what to expect with this forecast, and you're not exactly going to have eyes on the storm, so you need to have those alerts, those layers of protection in order to stay safe, and Mississippi Live Weather app is the first layer of protection that you can have to stay safe whenever these storms do hit. So heading into 2026, things do get better, because beyond this front, we're in for a much colder pattern. 50 degrees New Year's Eve, 48 degrees New Year's Day, significant cool down and mostly clear skies. Definitely something to look forward to, and definitely screaming Happy New Year to all of North Mississippi. As we look at those football forecasts, we know that's going to be happening January 1st, the first football games of the new year, and Alabama taking on Indiana in the Rose Bowl. Potential of maybe an isolated shower, not an impossibility, but temperature-wise, low 60s all the way out there in California. Not a bad forecast whatsoever, but I do want to say it's been such a soggy forecast. I'm not ruling out a few showers there in California as this game happens. Our Ole Miss Rebels not traveling too far away. Again, I had to put the graphic with the 2016 Sugar Bowl trophy because it is the Sugar Bowl that they're playing Georgia in, hopefully getting the 2025 trophy as well. But they're going to be kicking off around 7 p.m. on your Thursday. 56 degrees first play, mid-50s remain in play by the final snap. Mostly clear skies. It's going to be a good-looking forecast for sure. So the next 7 days, the big one that stands out is going to be Sunday into Monday, that cold front swinging on through. Again, have that Mississippi Live Weather app handy to stay updated on that forecast, because we are keeping eyes on that behind the scenes. Moving into next week, those cold temperatures remain in place with those mostly sunny skies. So 2026 starting on a high note, and it is going to be a great forecast. I want to tell everybody Happy New Year. I hope you guys do have a fantastic New Year heading into the next several days, but also stay safe. And again, download that Mississippi Live Weather app today to stay updated for what to expect as we head into this weekend. Our next broadcast is going to be at 6 and 10 with meteorologist Caleb Edelblut. He'll be tracking the latest on that forecast and of course, letting you know what to expect for the rest of your weekend, timing this out and keeping you guys safe. That's the biggest priority here at Mississippi Live Weather. We cannot wait to see you guys there. You guys have a great weekend, and of course, we'll see you back here on Saturday.
March 24th, 2023 was a normal Friday. You know, we knew the weather was not good, but we needed to take shelter, and we didn't have shelter. My husband and almost 2-year-old daughter, Ethan and Riley, they did lose their lives in the storm. We're still recovering from it. We'll always be recovering from it. Matt Lawpon cares about the community. He's not just there to collect a paycheck. I feel like Matt Lawpon has proven himself trustworthy.